But to tell you my ramen story. It was a day. It was a day. Like any other day. I woke up.
Ooh,
I woke up
ramen.
around 2
Am I
p.m.
right?
I woke up around 2 p.m. It's my buddy calling me on the phone. And I answered it. And he said, "Hey, loser." I said, "Yeah." And he said, "There's this new ramen place downtown. Let's go check it out." I had never been to a ramen place before. But I liked ramen, so I decided, alright, I'll give it a shot. We got to the restaurant. It was strange. It's because for being a ramen place, everyone who worked there and that was inside there was very Caucasian. This was the first hint I should have known something was going to go wrong. We were seated immediately next to the wall in the back of the restaurant. The restaurant wasn't very big. It was around the size of a room. The waitress approached us. She was around an 8. She was pretty hot. I was flirting with her a little bit while ordering. She was giggling and very receptive to it. And me and my friend, we both ordered a giant bowl of spicy ramen because we both like spicy things. I didn't really pay attention to what it said on the thing, but it said spice. Basically, they give you enough spices until it's hot enough for you. I didn't read that part of the menu. And so after some idle chatter with my friend, our ramen arrived. My friend, before he could take his first bite or do anything, had to use the restroom, but he couldn't find where it was in the restaurant, so he asked our waitress. And the waitress said, "We don't have a restroom here. The nearest one is the Taco Bell down the street." And so he went on his quest to go use the restroom. And as I looked at the ramen before me, I decided, I'm not gonna wait for my friend. My ramen's gonna be cool by the time he returns, so I better dig in now. I took a bite, and the ramen wasn't spicy at all. And so I asked the waitress about it, and she pointed to a bowl of habanero flakes on the table. There was only one bowl of habanero flakes, but I assumed that my friend's was nearby. And so I took the habanero flakes, the entire bowl, and I put it into my ramen. And I stirred it in. And then I took a bite. As my mouth was on fire, and I started to cough, and a single tear rolled down my cheek, I realized that bowl of habanero flakes was not for one person. It was for both of our meals, and we were only supposed to take pinches at a time and season it until it was just hot enough for us. My buddy came back and realized that my face was really red and I was on fire. He looked at me and he laughed, and he got another bowl of habanero flakes, and he took 3 pinches and put it into his just so it was just hot enough. And as I was sitting there, with my plate of boiling hot magma, I realized I paid $12 for this. There's no way I'm not gonna eat the entire thing. This wasn't a small bowl of ramen, no. This was a very large bowl of ramen. Why it was this big, I have no idea. But I proceeded to eat the entire bowl. It was delicious. But there was a stream of tears going down my face. My nose was running to the highest extent. My body was cramping halfway through the bowl. But I was dedicated to finish it. And as I finally finished it, and I was done using up an entire box of Kleenex that they had at the restaurant, some of the chefs and the waitress were giggling to themselves, but I knew they respected me for finishing the entire thing. And I sat there, proud of what I had accomplished. And that's when I realized the error of my ways. As the check came, my stomach made a noise. Not an average stomach noise, with digestion, but the same sound you would hear if somebody tackled you at full speed on a football field. It made a loud "Rah!" And then it started going, and I knew that ramen was escaping my body one of two ways. Either in front of me or behind me. The ramen was $12. I took a 20 out of my pocket, put it on the table, gave my friend that look that everyone universally knows as, "Fuck man, I'm about to die." And I waddled out of the restaurant, butt cheeks clenched to the fullest form. That way, I knew I would not shit on myself waddling to the Taco Bell. No, it was a Jack in the Box. The Jack in the Box, sorry. And as I'm going down the street in the middle of LA, passing by many pedestrians that are walking around, because it's around 7 o'clock at night at this time, they're looking at me, waddling down the street towards Jack in the Box, thinking I have some sort of mental disorder, because I'm still crying from the heat of the ramen. I finally get to the Jack in the Box. At this point, I'm in a weird sprint waddle. I open the door, luckily on the side of the building away from the cashiers. And I grabbed a hold of the door to the men's room, and it was locked. Fear was in my eyes, for I knew I only had a few seconds left before this bomb exploded from my body. I rushed over to the women's room. I pulled the door, and success. It opened. I closed the door behind me and locked it as fast as I could. I looked over at the mirror out of habit, just to see how badly I looked before I went to the toilet. I made eye contact with myself, but I realized it was too late. My mouth was already open, and a steady stream of ramen noodles and everything I'd eaten the previous day was flying out of my stomach. It hit the window and splashed, covering the reflection that was my face.